was an immensely intimidating person.
You are not worth the chair that you're sitting on.
If you crossed him, you were doomed.
There are people who have really been ruined.
Lance wanted to humiliate Frankie, and he wanted to get back at me.
From that point on, I was shunned, banned from everybody, and a lot of people, wouldn't look at me, shake my hand.
That celebrity is what gave him such immense power.
Simply you don't recall. Just how many times have I said it?
This is not a story about doping, it's a story about power. And the story became hanging on to that power.
Frank brought me the rights to Lance's book back in 2000 and a very small number, yeah. And we worked on that for a number of years and developed, I was an executive at Columbia at the time, and we developed a couple of really good scripts. So we had been kind of deep in this story for a very long time and had gotten to know Lance quite well. And then for a bunch of reasons, those movies didn't happen, and we decided the better way to go was to tell it as a documentary.
The last contact I had with Lance was when I told him the film was going to be called The Armstrong Lie.
So strange that you never
Odd.
He did accept it,
Yep.
but that was the last time I spoke to him. I think in a funny way, right around the time of the Oprah interview, Lance did exhibit some vulnerability, but it'll be very hard to tell where Lance's head is going to be at or how he's going to reckon with this whole thing until after the legal issues play themselves out. Because right now, Lance is most comfortable fighting, and right now he can fight. He's fighting legal battles, so he's fighting the Department of Justice, and he's fighting a number of other lawsuits. And while he's fighting, it's very hard for him to come to any kind of larger understanding.
Yeah, I've actually been the sort of go-between in scheduling because I've known him the longest. I've known his agent the longest. And he has not, as far as I know, seen the movie. His agent and handlers have. I was going to say, when you asked the question about, how was that moment when he told us, it was incredibly surreal, I agree. And then the next moment for me was Oprah. When we were standing in the room next door. Now, obviously, I know Oprah from Color Purple and kind of how we got in the back door there. To realize what was happening, to realize that he was sitting there with Oprah, and not us. We had gotten over that because we were there, but he was telling this story. It's like Strickland says in the movie. After years and years, to see him saying yes to everything, for me, was the most surreal. Yeah. As a sports person and as knowing him as well as that there he was going into 3 hours. By the way, they did him a bit of injustice and they ran it in 2 nights. When you see the whole 3 hours together, it's incredible.
I mean, you had to have been blind not to have seen, or blind or deaf, or both, not to have seen or heard of the doping accusations, launched toward Lance, even back in the day. But at the time, it was a lie that was kind of hiding in plain sight. You knew about doping in cycling, but there was kind of a general agreement that you couldn't say it out loud. And but I pretty much suspected that he had doped in the past. Where I slipped, or where I went over to the inspirational side, was in 2009. I was convinced that he was racing clean, that he wanted to race clean, and standing on Mont Ventoux in 2009 as he's cycling, I was rooting for him because here's the old guy, he's coming back, and he's racing clean, and at 38 he's sticking it to everybody, and I thought it's inspirational. So that's where I believe the beautiful lie more than the ugly truth.